You know what's interesting? Most folks spend more time planning a one-week vacation than they do planning their life. Isn't that something? They'll check hotel prices, look at flight times, research restaurants, but won't take an hour to think about where they want to be in 5 years. And that's why so few people understand the hustle. They're too busy living day to day to notice someone building year to year. Here's what I've learned. Your hustle is your business. It's not for others to understand. I want to tell you something important today. Something that might change everything for you if you let it. You've got to stop expecting other people to understand why you work so hard. You've got to stop hoping they'll see what you see. Most won't, and that's perfectly okay. See, I grew up in Idaho on a farm. We didn't have much, but one thing my father taught me was the value of work. He didn't lecture me about it. He showed me every day, rain or shine, he was up before the sun, working, building, creating something from nothing. And you know what? The neighbors didn't understand why he worked so hard. They'd say, John's always working. Doesn't he ever rest? They didn't see what he saw. They didn't understand his vision. That's your first lesson today. Most people won't understand your vision because they can't see what you see. When you're building something, a business, a skill, a future, you're working with a picture in your mind that others don't have. You see the end result. You feel the purpose. You know the why that gets you up at 5 a.m. when everyone else is sleeping. How could they possibly understand? You know, I've met thousands of successful people over the years, and here's what's fascinating me. Not one of them ever told me, Jim, I made it because everybody understood what I was doing and supported me from day one. Not one. Instead, they all shared stories about being misunderstood, about being questioned, about having people look at them sideways when they passed up a night out to work on their goals, about relatives who thought they were crazy, about friends who drifted away because they couldn't understand the commitment. Let me tell you about my friend who started a small business years ago. He worked 80-hour weeks. He missed parties. He lived simply while reinvesting everything back into his dream. And people said, why are you killing yourself like this? Get a normal job. They didn't understand. 5 years later, when his business took off, suddenly everyone understood. Suddenly everyone was saying, oh, I always knew you'd make it. Isn't that interesting? Now they understood, but their understanding wasn't necessary for his success. In fact, it had nothing to do with it. Your hustle isn't for them to understand. It's for you to execute. Here's another. When you're truly focused on something important, some people might even try to talk you out of it. Not because they don't care about you, but because they care about you in their way. They want you safe, comfortable. They want what they understand for you. Your mother might say, why don't you get a secure job with benefits? Your friends might say, come on, you work too hard. You're missing out on life. Your spouse might say, I never see you anymore. These aren't bad people. They're just people who can't see what you see. And that brings me to an important point. You need absolute clarity about what you're doing and why. If you're not clear about your vision, how can you expect anyone else to be? If you can't explain to yourself at 3 a.m. why you're working so hard, how can you expect others to get it? This clarity isn't for them. It's for you. Because there will be days, oh, there will be days when you question yourself, days when you wonder if the hustle is worth it, days when it would be so easy to quit. On those days, your clarity will save you. Write down your why. Make it specific, make it emotional, make it powerful enough to pull you through the tough times. And then when someone questions your hustle, you won't be shaken. You'll just smile and keep moving. I remember talking to a successful real estate investor who told me, Jim, when I started, I had a specific goal. I wanted to buy enough rental properties so my wife could quit her job and be home with our children. That was my why. And when people questioned why I was working 3 jobs and living like a college student to save for down payments, that's why it kept me going. Your clarity gives you strength. When you know where you're going, other people's confusion doesn't become your confusion. And you've got to develop inner strength. That's what this is all about. The strength to continue when no one understands. The The strength to believe in yourself when no one else does. The strength to keep going when the path gets difficult. You see, most people live their lives on other people's terms. They do what's expected. They follow the crowd. They try to fit in. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, if that's what you truly want. But if you're building something different, something meaningful, something that matters to you, you've got to find the strength to stand alone sometimes. I often ask my seminar audiences, if you could press a button and get the approval of everyone you know, but it would cost you your dreams, would you press it? The answer should be obvious, but too many people press that button every day without realizing it. They give up their dreams for approval. They sacrifice their vision for understanding. They trade their unique path for the comfort of the crowd. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Your hustle, that fire inside you that makes you work when others rest, learn when others play, save when others spend, try when others quit, that's sacred. It's yours. It doesn't need external validation to be worthwhile. You know, I've found that the people who accomplish extraordinary things are often ordinary people with extraordinary determination. They're not necessarily smarter or more talented. They're just more determined, more consistent, more resilient. And they don't need everyone to understand what they're doing. Think about it. If Thomas Edison had needed everyone to understand his vision, we might still be using candles. If the Wright brothers had required universal approval, we might still be traveling only by land and sea. If Steve Jobs had needed everyone to immediately grasp what he was creating, we might not have the technology we take for granted today. You've got to create your own path. That's what your hustle is. It's you creating a path where there wasn't one before. And here's the truth. Creating a path is messy. It's not a smooth, straight line. It's full of detours, false starts, and dead ends. It's learning as you go. It's figuring things out that nobody can teach you because nobody has done exactly what you're trying to do, exactly the way you're trying to do it. How could anyone fully understand that process from the outside? They can't. And that's okay. I want to tell you something that might change your perspective. Most people who criticize your hustle aren't being malicious. They're being human. Humans are naturally skeptical of what they don't understand, and they naturally protect their egos by justifying their own choices. So when someone sees you working harder than they work, sacrificing things they're not willing to sacrifice, taking risks they're not willing to take, it creates a kind of discomfort. Your actions hold up a mirror to their choices. And rather than question their choices, it's easier to question yours. She works too hard. He's missing out on life. They're obsessed. It's not healthy. These aren't objective assessments. They're defensive reactions. Remember that. And remember this too. You don't need to defend your hustle to anyone. You don't need to justify your early mornings, your late nights, your sacrifices, your investments, your learning, your focus. You don't need to explain why you're reading when you're watching TV, saving when they're spending, building when you're consuming. Your results will do all the explaining necessary in time. That's another critical point. Your hustle usually makes sense to others only in retrospect, only after they see the results. Nobody looks at the construction site and sees the finished building. They see dirt and noise and mess. The building exists only in the architect's mind until the work is done. Your hustle is like that. You're building something that exists completely in your mind right now. Of course, others don't fully see it yet. How could they? And this brings me to one of the most important principles for anyone building something worthwhile. You've got to fall in love with the process, not just the goal, because the process, the daily work, the solving of problems, the development of skills, the building of relationships, that's 99% of your journey. The achievement of the goal is just a moment if you can't find joy in the work itself, if you can't find satisfaction in the daily discipline, if you can't appreciate the person you're becoming through the struggle, you won't last long enough to reach the goal. And when you love the process, when you find meaning in the work itself, it doesn't matter nearly as much whether others understand. Your reward isn't just in the future. It's in each day, each hour, each minute you spend building. I've always said that success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And that's the heart of the hustle. Those simple disciplines practiced consistently when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when no one understands. It's reading the book while others watch television. It's making the call while others make excuses. It's saving the dollar while others spend two. It's taking responsibility while others place blame. It's doing the work while others wish for luck. These simple disciplines don't look impressive in the moment. There's no audience applauding. No one giving you a medal for going to bed on time so you can wake up early. No certificate for skipping the expensive dinner out so you can invest in your business. These actions, these choices, they're invisible to most people. All they see is what you're not doing. The party you missed, the luxury you forwent, the fun you're postponing. They don't see what you're building, not yet. And let me tell you something, that's the hardest part of the journey. The middle, the part where you've been working long enough that the initial excitement is worn off, but not long enough for the major results to show. That in-between time, when doubt creeps in, when the question, is this worth it, starts playing in your mind. That's when you need your own understanding of your hustle the most. That's when your clarity, your purpose, your why becomes your lifeline. I've seen so many people quit during this phase. They work and work and work, and because they don't see immediate results, and because no one around them understands or supports what they're doing, they give up, often just before the breakthrough was about to happen. Don't be one of those people. Please don't be one of those people. Remember, the lack of immediate results doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're building. Construction takes time. And the bigger the building, the longer the construction. Your hustle is the construction phase of your dreams. It's not supposed to be immediately impressive to onlookers. How could it be? They can't see the blueprint in your mind. And that's why you can't rely on external validation. You can't depend on others' understanding. You've got to validate yourself. You've got to check your own work against your own plans and make your own assessments. Ask yourself, am I putting in the work? Am I learning what I need to learn? Am I making progress, even if it's slower than I'd like? Am I keeping my commitments to myself? Am I showing up day after day? If the answer is yes, then you're on track, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says. Now, there's another side to this coin I want to address. While you shouldn't expect everyone to understand your hustle, you should try to find some people who do. You need a circle, even if it's small, of people who get it. These might be mentors who've walked a similar path, peers who are on parallel journeys, books written by those who've gone before you, online communities of like-minded strivers. Find these people, connect with them, learn from them, share with them, support them as they support you. Because while you don't need universal understanding, you do need some understanding. We're social creatures. Complete isolation isn't healthy or sustainable for most of us. I always encourage people to attend seminars, join masterminds, read biographies, listen to interviews with successful people in their field, not just for the information, but for the affirmation, for the reminder. Yes, this path is real. Others have walked it. The struggle I'm experiencing is normal. The resistance I'm facing is expected. This kind of understanding from the right sources is precious. It helps you contextualize your journey. It helps you see that the challenges you're facing aren't unique to you. They're part of the process that everyone who has achieved something meaningful has gone through. And here's a truth I've observed over and over. The very people who don't understand your hustle now may be the ones asking for your advice later. I've seen it countless times. The friend who questioned why someone would start a business instead of getting a real job later asked how they can start their own business. The relative who thought investing in the stock market was gambling later asks for investment tips. The colleague who called someone's side hustle a waste of time later wants to know how they can create an additional income stream too. Success has a funny way of turning skeptics into students. But, and this is important, by the time they understand, you won't need their understanding anymore. You'll have already proven to yourself that your path was right for you. So don't hold your breath waiting for universal understanding or approval. It likely won't come until after you've succeeded, if it comes at all. And by then, it won't matter much to you anyway. What will matter is that you stayed true to your vision, that you did the work, that you built something meaningful, that you became the person capable of achieving your goals. Let me tell you something about rejection and misunderstanding. They're gifts in disguise. They're filters. They separate those who want success from those who are willing to pay for it. When people don't understand your hustle, when they question your choices, when they even criticize or mock your efforts, they're doing you a favor. They're showing you that they're not on the same path. They're not headed where you're headed. Their priorities are different from yours. And that clarity helps you. It helps you know who to listen to and who to politely ignore. It helps you know where to invest your time and energy and where not to waste it. Think about it. Would you take financial advice from someone who's broke? Would you take fitness advice from someone who's never been in shape? Would you take marriage advice from someone who's never had a successful relationship? Of course not. So why would you let the opinions of people who haven't achieved what you want to achieve influence your path to achieving it? This isn't about arrogance. It's not about dismissing people or thinking you're better than anyone. It's simply about being selective about whose input you value when it comes to your goals and dreams. Listen, I want to be really clear about something. The path of the hustler, the builder, the creator, it's not an easy path. If it was, everyone would take it. It means doing things others aren't willing to do so you can have things others will never have. It means making sacrifices in the short term for advantages in the long term. It means delayed gratification in a world obsessed with instant results. And all of that can look strange to people living conventional lives with conventional expectation. Your hustle might mean waking up at 5 a.m. to work on your business before your day job. It might mean skipping happy hour to take an online course. It might mean driving an old car while you invest in assets. It might mean living with roommates in your 30s while you save for a down payment. From the outside, these choices might look like deprivation, like you're missing out, like you're sacrificing too much. But you know the truth. You're not giving up. You're investing. You're not missing out. You're prioritizing. You're not depriving yourself. You're disciplining yourself. And the returns on those investments, those priorities, that discipline, they come later. Sometimes much later. But they come. And when they do, they're worth every moment of misunderstanding you endured. I want to share with you what I believe is the ultimate freedom. Not caring if everyone understands. Think about that for a moment. The freedom to pursue your path, to build your dream, to create your future without needing the approval or understanding of everyone around you. The freedom to say, this is what I'm doing and I'm at peace with the fact that not everyone will get it. That freedom is priceless. And it only comes when you're so clear about your purpose, so convinced of your path, that external validation becomes unnecessary. Now let me be clear, it doesn't mean you become dismissive or disrespectful to those who don't understand. You can still love, appreciate, and value people without needing them to validate your choices. You can still be kind, patient, and generous with those who question your path. In fact, sometimes the greatest testament to your character is how you treat those who don't understand or support what you're doing. Can you still be loving to the family member who thinks you're foolish? Can you still be respectful to the friend who subtly undermines your efforts? Can you still be generous with your time to those who haven't supported your dreams? If you can continue to be a person of character while also staying committed to your path, you've achieved something remarkable. You've separated your worth as a person from others' opinions of your choices. And that's true freedom. Let me tell you what happens when you stop expecting people to understand your hustle. You start hustling for the right reasons. You stop working for applause and start working for results. You stop seeking validation and start seeking progress. You stop performing for an audience and start building for a purpose. And ironically, that's when your hustle becomes most effective. When it's fueled by intrinsic motivation rather than external approval, it becomes sustainable. It becomes genuine. It becomes powerful. The people who change the world rarely do so with universal approval. They do so with relentless conviction in the face of misunderstanding, skepticism, and sometimes outright opposition. And that brings me to an important point about perseverance. When you're building something worthwhile, there will be times when it feels like you against the world, times when you question yourself, times when the evidence of success seems scarce and the voices of doubt, both external and internal, seem loud. Those are the times that define you. Those are the moments when your commitment is tested, when your character is forged, when your future is determined. Will you continue when no one understands? Will you persist when the path gets hard? Will you keep going when giving up would be easier and when no one would blame you for quitting? If you can answer yes, if you can find that well of strength within yourself, then you've discovered the secret of the hustle. It's not about impressing others. It's about impressing yourself. It's about knowing at the end of each day that you gave your best to what matters most to you. Here's the beautiful irony. When you reach that point, when you truly no longer need others to understand your hustle, that's often when they begin to understand it. When you're so consistent, so committed, so clear in your purpose that it becomes undeniable, people start to take notice. Success has a way of changing the narrative. Suddenly, what looked like obsession becomes dedication. What looked like sacrifice becomes investment. What looked like foolishness becomes foresight. I've seen it happen over and over. The entrepreneur who was told they were crazy to start a business is later called a visionary. The investor who was mocked for being frugal is later admired for being wealthy. The artist who was dismissed as impractical is later celebrated as gifted. The understanding comes eventually, but then you don't need it anymore. By then, the results speak for themselves. By then, your inner certainty has been validated by outer success. And here's what's fascinating. By the time others understand your hustle, you're often on to the next one. You're setting new goals, pursuing new dreams, building new futures, because that's what builders do. They keep building. So if you're in that difficult middle phase right now, if you're doing the work day after day without much external validation or understanding, take heart. This phase doesn't last forever. But what you build during this phase can last a lifetime. Keep going, keep building, keep hustling, not for their understanding, but for your future. Because the truth is, the people who matter will eventually understand. And the people who never understand didn't matter to your journey anyway. Your hustle isn't for them. It never was. It's for you, for your growth, for your future, for the person you're becoming through the process of building something meaningful. And that person, the one you're becoming, is worth every ounce of effort, every moment of misunderstanding, every instance of doubt or difficulty you face along the way. I promise you that. Now, let me leave you with this thought. Years from now, when you look back on this period of your life, what will matter most isn't who understood your hustle. What will matter is whether you understood it, whether you believed in it, whether you committed to it, whether you gave it your best. Because ultimately, the greatest understanding you need is your own. Understand your why. Understand your path. Understand your purpose. Understand your potential. With that understanding firmly in place, you can face a world of misunderstanding with confidence, with clarity, and with the quiet certainty that comes from knowing you're on the right path. Your path, regardless of who gets it or who doesn't. That's the true power of the hustle. Not in being understood by others, but in understanding yourself so deeply that nothing can shake your conviction or stall your progress. So today, release the need for universal understanding. Release the craving for widespread approval. Release the hope that everyone will see the vision that drives you. Instead, recommit to your clarity. Recommit to your purpose. Recommit to your daily disciplines. Recommit to the process of building something meaningful, whether anyone understands it or not. And trust that in time, the results of your hustle will provide all the explanation necessary. The world doesn't need to understand your hustle today, but someday your hustle will change your world. And that's what matters. So keep going, keep building, keep hustling. Your future self will thank you for your persistence, And that's the understanding that counts most of all. The path is yours. The hustle is yours. The future you're creating is yours. Own it all, without apology and without the need for universal understanding. That's how you win. That's how you grow. That's how you become the person capable of achieving everything you've set out to achieve. And that person, the one you're becoming through this process, is someone truly worth becoming. Let me share something else I've noticed over the years. The most successful people I've met don't just have goals. They have systems. They don't just have dreams. They have daily practices. They understand that while motivation gets you started, habit keeps you going. Your hustle needs to become so ingrained in your life that it's simply what you do, not something you have to psych yourself up for each day. It becomes as natural as breathing, as automatic as blinking. That's when the magic happens. Think about this. If you improve just one each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better by the end of that year. Not 365 better, 37 times better. That's the power of small, consistent improvements compounded over time. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. Your daily hustle, those small, consistent actions that others might not understand or appreciate, creates massive results when sustained over time. And remember this, the hard times when nobody understands, when results are slow, when doubt creeps in, those are the times that separate the achievers from the dreamers. Anyone can work hard when they're motivated. Anyone can stay committed when they're seeing results. But only a select few can maintain their hustle through the desert times, the dry spells when feedback is scarce and progress seems minimal. Those desert times aren't your enemy. They're your opportunity. They're where your character is forged. They're where your commitment is tested. They're where your future is determined. Ask yourself, can I be faithful to my vision even when I can't yet see its fulfillment? Can I trust the process even when I can't yet touch the product? Can I believe in my path even when others question it? If you can answer yes, if you can find that reservoir of strength within yourself, then you'll discover what few ever, the ability to create your own reality rather than merely accepting the one others have created for you. Your hustle isn't just about what you'll have. It's about who you'll become. It's about the strength, the wisdom, the resilience, the character you'll develop by staying true to your vision, especially when it would be easier not to. And isn't that the ultimate achievement? Not just to have something to show for your efforts, but to become someone who no longer needs constant external validation or understanding to know your worth and to pursue your path. I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself so completely, so thoroughly, so unshakably that it doesn't matter who else does or doesn't. That's true power. That's true freedom. That's the ultimate reward of the hustle that others may never fully understand. But you will, and that's what matters.